Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Porch Talk. This is episode 19. Uh, we're just going to kind of jump into this. We'll save our sponsors and stuff for after the interview, but we're excited to have on the reigning BDD Defensive Player of the Year, Jaylon Hart from Honaker High School. How you doing, Jaylon?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. For those of you that are watching, whenever you watch the YouTube or listen on Spotify, we'll have Jamar hopping in eventually. Had some technical difficulties, but we're going to go ahead and start with this thing. Jaylon, the way we kind of do things is we want to talk to you about your childhood and where you grew up, when you fell in love with the sport, and kind of go up from there into your high school days. So if you want to tell us a little bit about when you fell in love with the sport.
Well, when I was little, I wouldn't say I fell in love with the sport of basketball. I'd say I fell in love with being around all my friends that I grew up with, playing it, and just like a companionship with all my friends. My whole friend group plays sports, and I played with them. And I wouldn't say I fell in love with a particular sport, but I definitely fell in love with being with your brothers out there competing against other teams. That's what I fell in love with.
Yeah, I always thought that was above anything else the most important thing when I played. Uh, going into Little League, because we like to ask everybody a little bit about kind of what the setting was there, some of the teams you played against, and how much fun you had in Little League. Because I know for me personally, when I played Little League football, it seemed like it was all fun. You didn't have the stresses of kind of what you do in varsity.
Yeah. Little League teams we competed against, we competed against Grundy our whole life, really. Jonah Looney, Landon Johnson, those cats over there in Grundy. We played them our whole life. Lebanon, Andy Lambert, Hunter Music, played them our whole life. Most of our really, really competitive games in Little League came from going to Tennessee and playing. We played a team, I think, out of Knoxville, Tennessee. The Grizzlies, we competed against them up at ETSU all the time. But as far as like really Little League, that was the three teams that we really faced up against a lot.
And most of those kids you mentioned, they're playing now and they're doing great. Things to be excited about when we go and watch. Something we want to ask you all, and we haven't really started asking this until this week, which I think Jonah may have told us a little bit, but whenever you was little, when you was a kid, any particular athlete that you looked up to?
Yes, I have a couple. When I was little, I couldn't stand watching NBA or college basketball. I always watched Honaker Varsity Basketball. That's the only thing I cared about. I could be there in person, talk to the people. That's a couple names. My biggest one is Brandon Sample. I don't know if you know who that is, but he played when I was little. Long blonde hair, scrappy, about 5'9", attacked the basket anytime he could. I loved how he played. He's just so iconic to me. Grayson Honaker, I loved watching him. His mid-range was the best I've ever seen in person, probably. Brett and Trajan Boyd, I always looked up to them too because they knew basketball so well, played it their whole life and stuff. I loved watching them, and Blake Stinson, the way he would pass the ball, I loved watching him drive in, kick out. He's just a floor general. I loved watching him.
And that's definitely an interesting take because I definitely expected you probably to go with the NBA or college, and I think a lot of those guys, if they watch this, they're going to be happy to hear their names mentioned. And,
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of the guys when I was growing up. We went to a few games and stuff like that, but you definitely have a very vivid memory of those. Going up from Little League up into JV, who's the coach in JV? And I guess how was that over in Honaker? Did you still have that same friend group that was playing up through Little League into JV?
Yeah, so when we went into JV in 8th grade basketball, we kind of had to part our ways a little bit. We I have it right here. I was tagged in a photo from when we played Little League. I had Caden Boyd was on there, Aiden Lowe, Gavin Witt, Mike Reese, Paul Vinsel, Trevor Lester, Caden Honaker, and Blaine Miller. And Mike and Paul and Blaine went to Lebanon, and then Caden was younger than us, but I think he was still in Belfast. Well, no, he moved to Honaker. My bad. He was in Honaker. Caden and Trevor kind of went to the baseball route. Caden kind of went off of sports and stuff. But, yeah, the JV and 8th grade, my dad was the coach. He went from our little travel team and followed us up. So that was pretty much what JV and 8th grade was like. It was kind of like our little core was split a little bit, but it was still a lot of our friend group.
Yeah. Has a lot of talent on that floor. And, I mean, I know Reese, he's doing real good over in Lebanon. And, I mean, as you all are as well. So going into varsity, just kind of first reactions getting into varsity, and I'm sure your dad kind of prepared you for it, but it's still different, being out there, the speed and everything. So just kind of when you first got into varsity, some instant reactions to it.
Well, coming into varsity, the year we was coming into varsity, we was really beating teams that probably right now outskilled us, but we beat I think he was nationally ranked point guard in Tennessee. Well, no, yeah, he was ranked in Tennessee as point guard. He's committed to I think Auburn right now, and then there's another kid that plays at Knoxville Catholic. We were beating teams like that over there, so we was really looking forward to it and stuff, and we was a little bit overconfident coming into it. But when we first got to varsity, we could see that every team around wasn't like travel. Everybody was organized, knew what they were doing, had roles on the team, not like in travel ball where everybody shooting. A big wake-up moment for us was probably when we played Lebanon our freshman year. Sage Potts and Preston Steele, they were outstanding that year. They were really good, and it was really like a moment of this isn't going to be easy. You're not going to just roll through everybody. You're going to have to work for what you get, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it sounds like that as soon as you jumped in there, you was thrown into the fire, I guess, so to speak. And I think that paid off. Y'all learned from it. So kind of, I guess, go ahead and touching on your dad coaching and stuff. How is that dynamic? I think this is kind of cool in a way because last week we had Jonah, of course, his dad coaches over at Grundy. And now in this situation, so I just kind of wanted to ask you, like we asked Jonah, how is it having your dad as a coach?
Well, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. How I would describe it is most kids, when they get done with a basketball game or practice, they get an escape from it. Like, all right, that was a rough practice. That was a rough game, but I'm going home. I'm just going to go to sleep, get something in me, and just forget about it. I can't, my circumstance, there's no really escape from basketball. It follows me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It follows me to holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. There's no escape from it, but that's probably made me a better player, and it's made me care about it a lot more, take stuff a little bit more personal, but that's probably been good for the team overall.
Yeah, and I think, you handling the ball and stuff a lot too, to be able to have your dad and you kind of put that wisdom into you. I feel like in the position that you're in, I mean, you need that high IQ, and I'm sure all that kind of builds up, hearing about it at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We kind of wanted to touch on a little bit from last season. I don't want to talk a lot of the details, but I do want to mention that you were the Defensive Player of the Year last year, which is a big deal. I want to ask you what it meant for you to win that, and also kind of your preparation and mindset when it comes to being a defender and how you approach the game.
Well, when I first entered varsity, I wasn't really a scorer. We had those already. TJ Mullins, Trajan Boyd, Aiden Lowe, they were our main scorers. So I really had to find a role to play. Growing up, I wasn't really most athletic and stuff. I wasn't really good. I wasn't really one of the best players, so I really had to learn how to guard people without having that athleticism. But when I came into varsity, I got the athleticism and I had the IQ of how to play defense, which I'm not saying I don't get burned a lot in games, which sometimes I do. But, yeah, I was really picking my role in my freshman year. Trajan, those main scorers, they had to have a defender and a ball handler, and that's what I went up through sophomore, junior, and senior.
Mar, can you hear us? And I'll let you.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. We talked with Jaylon here already about Little League and, when he fell in love with the sport and up through JV and some varsity a little bit. And I think you hopped in here now when he's talking about, his defensive mindset and him winning that award last year. So kind of bring you up to speed where we're at. Do you have anything you want to ask him?
You're talking about defense. I've always said that a Jaylon Hart team, the one thing you can expect is a defensive team, and well prepared to play defense. I listened to him on Travis's podcast, the Southwest Virginia Hoops podcast, and he was talking about you all have made a little bit of a switch from a little less full court man pressure to a little more half court this year. Was that more like a thing you all just kind of went naturally into, or was it something you had to really kind of where you're used to doing that? Is it? I mean, I would imagine there's not a whole lot of change other than just the pace, but what went into that process?
The switch from the full court man to the half court was really it was really like a realization of when you can turn over decent teams in a full court press, you can turn over bad teams in a full court press, but if you're playing a good team in a full court press, an athletic team, it's pretty hard to get turnovers on a full court press, but you give them that space and you got to run the floor back. I mean, the half court, it really lets us use our length that we have. We can really cover ground, but I don't know. I would say majority is a good team. It's really hard to full court press a good team, and we schedule a lot of good teams.
Yeah, and also I think, like you said it too, a lot of that, especially this year, matchup problems you ran into trying to guard full court with from each position. Some guys just it's going to be a lot harder for them to do that full court, but you can get away with a lot more in a half court. But you all still do a very good job of ball pressure and still doing the same kind of things. It's a relentless. It's not you got to do a good job of not fouling, but putting pressure on the ball, and it's actually a hard thing to learn how to do. A lot of people can put pressure on the ball, but they foul a lot. I feel like you all do a good job of applying a lot of ball pressure, but not fouling, and you can tell just because some of y'all, like I said, y'all's games, it's just it's a constant pressure, and you can tell it wears on teams.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to ask you about, because I know that you all made a switch into the Honaker High district. Just, not necessarily trying to talk negative about the BDD or anything, but just going to the games, because you're going to some different gyms and, different environments there. What have you noticed about the Honaker High so far when it comes to basketball? Some of the gyms you've been going to, some of the, the schools, that some of these schools have a lot of good tradition, and they get up for these basketball games.
Mm-hmm. What I can say about the BDD is that all of the kids in the BDD, they might not be the most skilled like some teams, but they all care about it a lot. And the fans are really, really into it. Grundy's fans are really great fans. They really get into the games and stuff. Hurley's fans would always get into the games. They might not have had the best seasons in the past, but they always come out and watch. The BDD fans are great. The Hogo, I haven't seen a lot. I've only played 2 games. The kids are really respectful, the Hogo. I like their attitudes and stuff, and they play they're not to be underestimated. They all know how to play basketball, and I like it because there's more consistent, high-level games being played over there. But I will miss the BDD because it's a lot more energy, I think, at least.
You got one more, or you want me to go ahead? I
Go
got another
ahead.
one. Yeah. So
I'm still trying to play catch up here a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of figured. So just keep on that with the Honaker. You got a big matchup tomorrow night against Patrick Henry. They had a really good win the other night against Joe Howie. Just some things you're looking forward to going into that game.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they have. We've played them in the past, and we've won most of those matchups. But they're 10-3. I haven't watched a lot of film on them, but I'm eager to see what they have and how we'd go about stopping them. I'm excited to see how Keaton and the Big K Wood kid match up if they play man. I'm excited to guard. I don't know the younger brother's name. I'm excited to see what he has. He's having a really good season, I think, from what our coaches was saying. I'm excited to just compete and see the matchups that we have.
Go ahead, more. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I feel like I'm not talking much, but
well, I just didn't want to cut you off because I know you're trying to. You can't.
I didn't really know what you covered, what you hadn't yet, so I was just going to try to see where we're at.
I got you. Well, yeah, we ain't gonna hold you up too much longer. I know Mar usually like to throw him a question about his pregame jams.
Yeah, see, that's where I didn't know if we were there yet, so I didn't want to go too early. But either on the bus ride, before the game, locker room, wherever, you're listening to your music, getting ready for a game. What's in your ear? What's on your iPod, your earphones? iPod. Nobody has an iPod anymore.
Me and Sean Gill, we've been bringing speakers to a lot of games. We're really big old country fans. We've been listening to a lot of Keith Whitley. It's a weird taste, but we get down to it. We like it.
You really are your dad's son. I've heard some really funny stories about your dad from his college days, and you listen to Keith Whitley before a ball game. It sounds exactly what I would expect you to say.
Yeah, me and Sean really like it. The other guys, they're more Zach Bryan, more along there. But me and Sean like the old country a little bit more.
Yeah, it's kind of
nothing wrong with that. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, we like both of them. But it has been kind of surprising last week. Jonah, his was Zach Bryan, Keith Whitley this week. I'm not sure that's what we expected for the pregame games. That's awesome.
I don't think Keith Whitley would get me ready to play a basketball game, but if it works, it works. That's the most important thing. So
Puts you in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Well, I just had two more for you. Maury, you can jump in if you got something else before we let him go. But one thing I want to ask you about is the Honaker community. Just you talking about a little bit about their support and how they kind of galvanized around you all. I know in football, it was huge. In basketball, I know it's been about the same. It's still big crowds. So I wanted you to talk about them a little bit.
I love them. They're a real respectful fan base, but they'll have our backs. Like, I don't know. That's the best way to explain it. Like, they're not blatantly disrespectful, but if they hear another person in the opposite crowd saying stuff, they'll get a little bit fired up. I like that. They always pop out really loud. Yeah, they're great. I couldn't ask for better fans.
Yeah, every time I've been over there, it's always packed and super loud. You can't ask for anything better than that.
It's a good place to play. I always enjoyed playing there. Just the double levels, the bleachers, the bottom row bleachers are right on the floor. Like, I love that type of stuff. That tight. It's a really close to the court gym to be as big as it is.
It's a real immersive court. Like, you're gonna notice the fans.
The walls being so right behind the backboard. It's a shooter's gym. I always enjoyed playing there.
And one last thing before we get you out of here, and we ask everybody this, just your motivation that you kind of carry with you when you're out there playing, something that you hold close to you.
Well, first and foremost, my faith and Jesus Christ. That's my biggest one. I try to use my basketball platform to promote him as much as I can. Done a lot for me. Helped me a lot when I was first coming into varsity basketball. I kind of had to take a step away from basketball and realize I was kind of idolizing the sport. And when you idolize something, it's not going to bear any fruit at least in my experience. So I had to really step away and get God in the center of my life, and that did tremendous wonders for me. Another motivator is probably I know a lot of people that are really, really into sports, but they never got the chance to play. And I feel like with the gifts God's given me, I feel like not playing and not trying as hard as I can is kind of disrespecting them in a way, because they would die to be in my position to be able to play sports. And I just feel like I would be disrespecting them if I wasn't trying really, really hard. And I do it for them. I know some kids at my school have some health problems, wasn't gifted by God to the athleticism, and that's who I think about mostly.
And I can't tell you how much we enjoyed having you on for this. I know that we had some technical difficulties, starting out and stuff. But Maury, you want to say something real quick?
I gotta ask him, because I hate to not end it on what he said, because it was a great answer. But I heard your dad say on the other podcast, on Travis's podcast, about you all, being in the cattle business stuff, and y'all either on raising is the word, or however it was. But the bull, I guess for actual bulls that go to I don't know if they're actually bucking bulls, but something to that extent, maybe.
Rodeo bulls?
Yeah, rodeo bulls. Y'all are in that business. Have you? My question was, have you ever been on one? And how good at it are you?
Well, I have. Okay, growing up watching it, I've been to so many rodeos, couldn't even count them. But growing up watching it is a little bit different, because you see people get mangled, flown 10 feet up in the air, back flips, front flips, hit the gates. That really deterred me from getting on one. I've had the opportunity. They make miniature bucking bulls, and they've asked me if I wanted to get on them and stuff. I always said no. When I was little, I did the mutton busting. I don't know if y'all know what that is.
I think we got a buddy that used to do that. He's a cowboy to this day because of it, according to him.
Yeah, I always loved doing that. First time I did it, I was pretty shaken up. I got under the sheep, stepped on me a couple times, but it was fun. I've always been around that rodeo scene, and I think it's definitely made me a lot tougher person.
I had to ask, because when he said that, I was like, I wonder, as athletic kid at some point, you probably got the urge to get on one, so I had to find out.
Yeah, my buddy Sean thinks he wants to get on one. I tell him every time he says it, I'm like, dude, I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff.
Well, and like I said, I can't tell you how much we enjoyed having you on, and we definitely appreciate it. We talked about it before we got on air, but y'all have 3 games this week, and you said you might have 4 next week. So we just want to wish you the best going forward this season, then into the playoffs.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, man. And again, good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Mar. We got off to a bumpy start, but
I don't know what happened, man. My screen started doing crazy stuff. I almost felt like Morpheus was going to start typing on my screen, and I was getting hacked, and it was in the Matrix or something crazy. I really couldn't tell you what in the world it was, but luckily we got it figured out, I think, for now.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think even when me and him midway through that, it was saying we had some connectivity issues. So, but again, great player interview. I'm so impressed by the composure of some of these kids, the way they answer the questions. I couldn't do it. I can't do it today, I don't think.
Yeah, Waylon had talked about like I said, shout out to Travis Byers and their podcast, Southwest Virginia Hoops podcast. I listened to it this week. His dad Waylon was on, and he talked about what a great kid Jaylon is, and never has had any real problems, nothing. Like, it was great as far as that goes, and how I kind of come in that first time on you all talking about what it was like to play for his dad.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go backwards, so I didn't ask him. But Waylon said on that podcast that it's probably not always been fair to Jaylon because he went out of his way to make sure he didn't give him any special treatment. So if he would probably take him out before messing up, when maybe he wouldn't take other kids out for just making a mistake because he never wanted there to be any kind of option for anybody to say he did that. And he said, talk about Jaylon just handled it in stride and stuff. And it's if anybody hasn't listened to that podcast, you need to check it out. He's got a lot of good episodes. But
well, we got another guest coming on. Before we get to that, we did want to say shout out to our sponsors. We got two that we go over every week, and so the first one that we have is Wyatt Pole Holders. And Wyatt Pole Holders, if you have fishing poles that you would like to display safely on the wall or just need a way to get them off the floor, Wyatt Pole Holders has what you need. Sold on Etsy. He has a nice selection of fishing racks, fit your needs. Pine, oak, and poplar, just some of the wood used to craft these beautiful racks. And engravings are also available upon request. And I mentioned it a few times before, but he's been trying to do some wedding rings. He's going to make me one here soon, and so I'll show it on air, cutting boards, stuff like that. So give him a shout out on our socials. I think he's got an Instagram that you can go on there.
Yeah, our other sponsors, Cantrell Holdings Equipment Rentals. If you need any kind of equipment rentals, backhoes, excavators, anything like that done, or work around the house, give them a holler. Check out their prices that they deliver. Their telephone number is 276-596-3078. The buddy of ours that we were talking about that used to ride the sheep when he was little, he's a cowboy from way back. He's one of the guys. This is one of him and his dad's things. So holler at them. Great people, great customer service, whatever you need. Give their Facebook page a like and learn more about everything they got going on.
And as we wait for our next guest to join, I just want to give you a heads up that if you're listening to this, and some of you might listen to the player interview and cut it off, that's fine. But if you stick around after we have our interview with our next guest, we are going to go over some local games from this week. And something I did want to throw out there towards the end, I have it wrote down, some of the all-state team that they'll put out for football. They announced it this week, so just definitely want to highlight some of those local kids in it. I think that I'm not sure who we have next week. We'll look forward to it, or look ahead here soon. But if anybody out there has anybody that you want to see on, even when we do our special guest, give us a message, comment on our stuff, anything like that. Just we're open to suggestions. We already have quite a bit that we're going to try to fit in. But, we're still open. If y'all know somebody that you're dying to see on there, we're open to it. So just give us a shout out on that.
I got a good one coming up Sunday, hopefully for everybody. I think everybody will enjoy it. If hopefully everything works out to where we can do that, it'll be a good one.
Yeah, all those special guest episodes. Like if you haven't saw them yet, we have a few out. First one we have with Tommy Krieger. Then we had one with Shane Wicks, Greg Tester, and Brady Hess. So those are the ones we have out so far. And those episodes are really episodes where you dive into their whole life, their career. They coached, or in Brady's case, writing sports articles and stuff of that nature, and some of his experiences. So they're great listens, especially if you're in a vehicle for a while and you just want to chill out and listen to something. Good storytelling. I think those are some of our best. Let me see if they got our invite here. All right, he's working on getting on. In this short little time period we got here, just so we don't have to do it here at the end, I will go ahead and announce our top 5 Porch Talk new songs this week. Number 1 is Don't Leave Me Loving You by Drake Milligan. Number 2 is Thank You by Alex Mather. Number 3 is Raining in Dallas by Clayton Mullen. Number 4 is Whiskey in Colorado by Tony Stevens. And number 5 is Brooks and Dunn by Mark Taylor. We didn't really get to talk about. I don't know how much time we'll get to talk about them because we are waiting for him to hop on here. But good list this week. Drake Milligan, he was a contestant on America's Got Talent, and he's back on there now with their new show. So definitely give him a listen. And I think he's going to be a star here soon.
In preparation for me asking him about that, the bull thing, my throwback song this week is Toby Keith, Should Have Been a Cowboy. So that's the throwback. Great song. Hope Toby Keith is he was in real bad health there for a while. I think he's on the other side of it maybe now, or at least it's not getting worse. But I was a big Toby Keith fan, so hopefully he gets doing better. But it's a great song. I think it might have been his first. I don't know if it's his first single or not, but I think it might have been his first number 1. It might have been his first single. I'm not sure. But that was back when he had the big mullet. I guess back in the day, everybody had
I remember that.
Had a good mullet. Seems like, but
I think that's coming back, or came back, and maybe going back out again.
It's never really left. I don't think it's just certain. For a while there, only certain people had it, and then now it's like it's a little more accepted now. I think than it was for a while. But I mean, if you can do it, more power to it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I can't grow hair like that at all. Yeah. One thing I did want to do, and I really wanted to kind of go deeper into it than what we're probably going to have the opportunity to do, but I'd mentioned maybe doing like a hidden gem, a song that may have came out before and something that we didn't get a chance to highlight because we wasn't doing podcasts then. That song that I wanted to put out there this week, and I'll add it to a playlist for you guys to listen to if you happen to download or follow our Spotify page. But it's called Prodigal Son by Josh Williams. Has a little bit more of a bluegrassy feel to it. But the song talks about a guy that's in prison and he can't write or anything like that. So he's getting his cellmate to kind of write a letter to his parents. And in that letter, he's trying to give them a little bit of peace of mind, saying that, hey, I'm out here doing this. I'm doing fine. Your prodigal son's going to return here soon. In reality, he's actually on death row. So the song, I mean, it is pretty sad, I guess, but the song, the storytelling in it is really appealing to me, and I love a good song that can tell a story. So that is the hidden gem of the week that we have. And go ahead, Mo.
No, I was just going to say our Minor Imperfections. Have you heard that song?
No, I don't think so.
Charles Wesley Godwin, dude that was on Rogan this week.
Yeah,
from Morgantown. He's got a lot of good ones, but Minor Imperfections was a really good one by coal miner dad. It was a good one. They want to check it out.
Yeah, you had it up on your socials, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yesterday. Yeah. We'll have to check that out. We have while we have this brief moment, I do want to mention that we have a local kid. Well, I don't know necessarily if he grew up local, but he was in this area for a while, got pretty popular. The singing barber, Noah Peters. If y'all watch American Idol, kind of keep a lookout on him. He auditioned, and I don't know the exact date, but it's in February some point. That should be airing. So I know we just had the other Noah kid. His last name escapes me right now, but he was on The Voice. And so there's some talent around here that's getting into the national spotlight.
Yeah, there's always been good people, good music around here, and very talented individuals. I think social media has helped a lot now to get people's names out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, what's going on, man?
I think we got
What's
our
up?
other guest. There he is.
How's everything going, fellas?
Hey, it's going, man.
It's going better now. I had my computer went haywire earlier, so I think I'm good now.
All right.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know him, we got Coach Patrick Wade from Castlewood High School. How you doing, P. Wade?
Doing all right, man. How about you guys?
Doing good.
Hanging in, man.
Yeah. Hey, we're happy to have you on tonight.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. I was telling Mara, even when we started doing this, man, we got to have P. Wade on at some point. I know you got a lot of stories and stuff you'd like to share with us as well.
Yeah. Something like that, man. It's y'all doing a good thing, man. I enjoy getting the kids' names out there and talking Southwest Virginia and all sports and hoops, man. That's awesome.
I told Cameron we went to some of his football games. Like I'm one of those people that I go to about every game I can because I don't really have anything else going on. So a good game on a Friday night or a weekend or a weekend. But it seems like everywhere I go, I run into P. Wade. So he's at all his games too. Not as much basketball anymore. You're a little busy now during the basketball season, but
right.
Yeah,
it
seems
man,
like
if we're not playing on Friday, try to catch a big game or something. You guys got to get down to BC Wyatt. We're trying to get it going down there, and y'all come down. We'll put you in the skybox to get y'all down there, man.
Sounds good, man.
That sounds good to me. We want to give you an opportunity. We had Jory on there last week, and he kind of talked about Grundy's roster they got and stuff.
Right.
So I want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about the roster that you have and kind of highlight some of those kids because you, of course, can tell us more about them than what we can read in any paper.
Yeah. It's good seeing Jory on there, man. It makes you feel old when you start seeing guys that you coached talking about guys that they coached, kind of did myself there. This is my third year, so I've got 9 on varsity, got a plethora on JV, and I came down after the COVID season there and kind of took over. And COVID, small enrollments, we're fighting it. You guys know that, but we've got about 308 through 12. So we've got 4 seniors: Caden Dishman, Xavier Sanders, Forrest McConnell, and Aiden Glover. Then we got our quarterback out. We call him Hooch, Braden Houchins. He's a junior. It's his first year playing since 4th grade, but he's one of the better athletes in our school. And then right after that, we've got a slew of 10th graders. So we to me, that's kind of the hardest part. Do you bring a guy up that's a role player and he's play 7, trust play 8, trust 7, however you want to say that. So our JV right now, we've got sophomores. I don't want to leave anybody out, but we had Luke Harvey, Dalton Phillips came to us from East Side. They're up on us with varsity, and Jasper Salyers. He's like a Swiss Army knife for us. And then on our JV's rolling right now. So we just had a big battle with J-Rod there in Twin Springs. So trying to get that rivalry back a little bit on the blue side there, and had a JV barn burn. We've got we've got some baseball guys that are basketball guys too. So we've got Jaden Clark, Jared Glover, Hayden Henry, Mason Mullins, True Ruff is a freshman. We've got 2 key twins, Dalton and Colton, on the 8th grade there. We've got some younger guys that came up off our middle school. So, there's about probably 30 or 50 guys that are in that school. And, there are football guys that are baseball or basketball or track. And we have a great wrestling program. So we respect wrestling. I have a pretty good, rapport with those guys. So, some of those guys are our best athletes, but they may not per se be a basketball player, but they're great wrestlers. So we get along really well, man. But the JV, I came over and laid in with those guys, and they're middle school and in our varsity. The AD last year did not schedule very well, and we took some lessons there. But we've been pretty competitive, and the Cumberland district, man, is just it's brutal. But those guys, Dishman he just got his 1,000 points, and he's a pretty prolific scorer. And these guys do a good job of getting him the ball in spots because you know how tough it is to when you've got a team that does it by committee. It's tough for when your leading scorer is going to see a lot of junk and a lot of different stuff. But man, I couldn't be prouder of these guys. All they do is show up and do what you ask them to and fly around. So I'm happy to see their success. As a team, that's first and foremost to me. So for those guys to come up through the middle school and JV. You're trying to build something, so I'm really happy with them, and those guys are they're doing a fantastic job. All those guys in the program.
Yeah, Castlewood's all. I mean, when I played, and I'm sure before that, I don't know a lot about the history of it, but I mean, they were always very good.
Yeah,
put a lot of good players out there. When I was playing,
you had really good teams, 60s, 70s, the Talford era.
Yeah, Talford.
You've had Aaron Williams come through there. You've had Casey Johnson. You've had just prolific players and coaches. So there's a rich history there, and those guys are doing a pretty good job. I consider myself a middle school. I've coached old school. Those days, I look around and we're kind of the last of the dying breed of us old school with Brian Moore, Rick Goodman, Chad Bailey. You look around and you're like, man, I'm probably one of the longest tenured, oldest guys that's kind of been around. So it doesn't seem like that, but Castlewood has a rich tradition, man, and one of the nicest, if not the nicest. I'm a little biased, gyms. I'd like to see hosting stuff down there, and I like that the region goes to Wise, but man, I kind of miss those tournament feelings where I'm going to your school and it's packed and, kind of like it used to be. And I guess I always just compare everything to the old BDD, but the Cumberland's really nice as well.
Yeah. And, we're definitely going to get to the BDD as well, just like we did with Jory, because I know there's a lot of stuff there. And I think just talking on the year so far, I know y'all had a lot of ups and downs, but I've seen, just even looking at the scores and stuff from last year to this year, I think there's been a lot of improvement. And I know that you all got a few games coming up too that y'all should be in.
Yeah, we've been competitive. Like I said, man, those guys, they play the rear ends off, and they ask a lot. And I probably am a little bit maybe too hard on them and kind of hold them to a higher expectation. Kind of the same thing when I was at Council. I think we won 5 games, and then we won 9 games. And you had Justin Mathis and Cameron. You had like Cameron Presley and Jut and Keaton and those guys. So Zach and Luke Barton. So now those guys are coaching, and you get to that third year and things kind of start clicking and get that chemistry. And we're competing, man, and you can't really coach just for the outcome of it. Me personally, I don't really coach for the wins and losses, but just seeing those guys come that far, that means a lot to me. And these seniors have, we had a rough when we first started. We had more injuries at one point than we had 5 people on the bench hurt. Couldn't get the 5 guys on the floor to be able to sit down because the 5 people on the bench hurt. Man, they played some Ironman basketball, and they never quit. If we're up 20 at Burton, if we're down 20 to Twin Springs, those guys they always just hang in and have a good attitude, man. I'm really blessed to have a good group of kids and work with administration like a Mike Robinson and a Jerry Sparks, man. Can't beat it. Top notch guys.
Y'all had some tough environments to go into in that Cumberland district.
Yeah, man.
I mean, really, there's not a. It doesn't matter what the team's like. You go into those gyms, you're in for an environment. No matter what's on the floor.
I guess I was lucky. We kind of came through the BDD. When I transferred to Council with Coach Goodman, we played at 3 of the BDD teams. Any 2 of them could go to state and did. We wound up playing. Almost playing Honaker for a state championship in 2002. And then, I come to the Cumberland and people, I don't know. I guess I'm a basketball elitist. People kind of say the Cumberland's down. I said, buddy, hop on this bus and let's go play, like a Clay Jeffers and Thomas Walker, that's one of the up-and-coming coaches. And then you guys go ahead and play Patrick Damlin home and away 2 times. And, Twin Springs and the Big Red Army, it's basketball science to them. We played them the other night. I think it was $2,300 at the gate, man. It was cranked, and it's a fun environment. And J-Rod and those guys down there, and then Rye Cove, Michael Paul Berry's a good guy. Cheyenne Osborne, he steps away, and you get Aaron Williams, down there. So you're bringing that guy in, and then Church steps away at Norton and graduates a lot. And then, they throw in Donnie Frazier on you. And you're like, gosh almighty, this is, Murderer's Row. So I look forward to it. I think the Region D, man, and Russell County, I just think Region C is up, with George Wythe and Auburn. I don't have to tell anybody that, but, like Ric Flair said, I give Dameron a hard time all the time. I said him, I know you guys are country music guys. I'm not much country, but Mar, I said him, Vince Gill, I still believe in you, when people were giving Eastside a hard time, and Coach Coffey's a good buddy, and I said, man, don't let that record fool you. And I think they're sitting 3-0 right now in the Cumberland. So I don't know if he likes Vince Gill, but I know he likes getting after people in basketball.
I think that honestly, I had the standings here for the Cumberland. They're at the top, but really, I mean, I wouldn't say anybody's completely out of it.
No. I mean, it's Twin Springs loses 2 All-State guys, and Dameron never is empty-handed. He's got a program that he runs, and Jeffers has his guys play, and so any given night in the Cumberland, anybody can beat anybody. We were up 23 and felt like we were going to kick that door in, and Burton comes storming back and winds up beating us by 3, and then Twin Springs just plays a good game against us, and then we go and play Jeffers at Tom Walker, and I don't think it was ever a time that it was a double-digit game. They just hit some big timely threes. It's just good high school Southwest Virginia basketball. I enjoy those guys. Maybe I'm getting old and mellowing out a little bit, despite what anybody will tell you, but it's just the Cumberland, man. I really like it and enjoy it. Same for the Hogahegie and BDD. You see more coaching and Doc Looney down there, and then the Hogos Logan. You got Honaker and Dwayne at Rural Retreat and Bailey and PH. It's just I love the Region D, man. It's just a lot of stories. You guys know that.
And I was going to say, you had a lot of experiences. You've had a lot of coaches that you've met, and I know you talk about Moore already. You talk about Rick already.
Right.
You had a good run there at Council, and you went over and helped coach with Fred over at Richlands.
Right.
And so I kind of wanted to ask you, because I know we can even see just by looking at the record and stuff that you are changing things at Castlewood. So I was kind of curious, culture-wise, some stuff you got from these guys that you applied now with Castlewood to start turning this program around.
Yeah, man. I think I've been blessed. When I played for Coach Greg and Roger, Jay Mark can kind of speak to that. This porch talk might be up Horn Branch. One of the cranked out a lot of athletes there from Southwest Virginia. If you speak to some of Jay Mark's family. We would play, I call them the Blanken Lesters, Ricky, his Uncle Mike taught me to play defense. And, you got Katie Joe, Jay Mar, Josh King, Chance come out of there, Chris Hagerman, Dales, Jeff Lester, I think I just kind of developed that blue collar, we're going to punch the clock and go to work. My dad was a hardworking guy, and I've been blessed to be around some Hall of Fame coaches. Like you said, you go play for Rick Goodman. And I think, I might be biased, probably the best X's and O's guy. Jamar played with him and for him as well. He can take yours and beat his, take his and beat yours. So, I learned a lot of things from him. Then you go to, Council and you're kind of in the lab, you're competing and playing, but if you're down maybe 20 and your guys are playing hard, you kind of figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And then, sadly, Council's enrollment dropped, and I was lucky enough, Coach Phillips needed an assistant coach, and you get around some Hall of Fame guys in South Virginia, you pull from those guys like Coach Phillips, most organized, like loves basketball, we're going to work. And you see things that you would do that you take from them, like, man, that's a great idea, and I'll do that, and then you see things that, like, I like that, I might put my own spin on it. But, you get around a Greg Mance and, people that won state championships, and you just try to be a sponge and soak that in. So I think that I've been lucky enough, Coach Moore, I love Coach Moore. He's crazy. Like I said on Travis's podcast, almost went to jail 2 times in St. Paul. So I still watch out for their resource officer called Moore. But, man, there's no secret. No, I don't think culture as much as just if you're good to kids and respect them, man, they'll put out for you. They'll play hard, and, you just got to build it. So, we make ourselves available. We open the gym up, and, nobody's ever going to outwork us at Castlewood. They might out-talent us right now sometimes collectively, but, man on a man, we're going to work. We're going to come in and try to do the best we can. And I wouldn't say it's as much culture or any secret as just, hey, man, the gym's open. You want to come in. I will say, and I hate to give him any credit because he's like the little brother I didn't want him. We hired Coach Norris, and he's big into this, science, strength and conditioning stuff. So, I just tell him, don't get anybody hurt. Do anything you want. And he goes down, he's lifting on game days. He's got assisted bands. I said, dude, I don't watch YouTube videos, but he's got our guys flying around, whatever, activated, muscles I can't pronounce. I said, gosh, buddy, whatever you need, just don't get anybody hurt. But he's done a fantastic job for me. And, we got a good FCA rep and a principal that was a coach and coached at an elite level. He texts you on those days, hey, man, hang in there. I know, you blew a 23-point lead, but, hang in there. So, being around those guys, man, you take the good everywhere you go. And I've been blessed, I caught more, right after Mar and those guys left, man. And that, we went to the state semifinals twice with Jory and BC and, all those guys. And then I get to Richlands and Coach Phillips lets me be a part of it. And you meet a Jim Graham and these basketball minds. And, Coach Phillips makes history. We go to the state quarterfinals, first time Richlands won a regional game, which blew my mind. They have a pretty storied history. And then, you're with Coach Goodman. So, I'll tell this one on Coach Goodman. I saw him. He's a big play guy. He took a piece of paper and threw a play away, and it was in the trash. And I waited till he walked down. I said, man, I'm going to look at this, pull that out in a JV game and, hit a game winner. And he's like, I kind of like that play. Where'd that come from? I was like, it was in your trash. That's one of yours that you didn't like. But, man, I'm almost 40 in March, and, I respect all those guys. Coach Goodman could tell me today to get on the line. I may not make it like I could 21 years ago, but just have respect for that guy. He's been good to me, man. So, the secret is the kids, man. Just the kids. Coaches lose it, kids win it. Make yourself available, treat people with respect, and the culture will take care of itself.
You mentioned Coach Phillips winning at Richlands.
Right.
Don't go into any detail or anything, just I guess nod or confirm. But did that trophy get treated like the Stanley Cup?
No, man. Listen. Coach Phillips is my guy, man. He was so excited, man. But he loves kids, and man, he loves basketball. And it was fun, rarely do you run into guys that are as passionate about the game as kind of I am. So it was kind of, I wouldn't say bad cop, but like, you feed off him and he feeds off me. So, we both are hyped. So, he just, it was awesome, man. It was just really good to, I respect Graham, but I really enjoyed Coach Jim Graham. He came from Tazewell. We won some JV championships at Graham, and Coach Phillips. We were able to beat those guys for some Southwest championship and get in there. So, Coach Phillips, man, he's a great guy. Great basketball coach.
He's a great coach. You could tell. I mean, just always prepared. But I think he was. I always knew him as a ref. He was one of the best refs that we had.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, you knew what you're going to get every time he was out there. He let you get plays right ways. I thought, and I always enjoy him reffing. But
I'm old enough that we had the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. You had Johnny, you had Barry, you had young Jeff Hurst. He might have less hair now, and then you had Coach Phillips. And those guys were, if it was a big game, you were going to see that crew, man. And they, I mean, you're never going to make everybody happy, but, man, those guys could call it. So, same way in basketball, you're talking about Coach Phillips. I mean, the man had the carpet vacuumed. You knew what way the carpet was vacuumed. If you needed anything in his program, it was on shelf B, and it was clean and washed and folded. And, he taught me to always be prepared, and, a lot of good things from him.
Yeah, we wanted also to kind of talk on, like we was Jory, about the BDD a little bit because,
right,
it's slowly coming to an end. And I know that you, as well as Jay Moore and Jory, as well, a lot of great BD memories, and I know you do from coaching and as well as playing. So just wanted you to share some of those.
So I like Jay Moore and my family, we went to Garden, and I had sisters that cheered. So my cousin Chris, who was like a brother to me, kind of made me a competitor, whether I wanted to be or not. He was going to compete. So I can remember going, in the early '90s, we're going to Pocahontas, we're going to St. Paul, and kind of dating myself with some of those schools that don't exist. But the BDD, man, it was, like Jay Moore, I know he alluded to it. They hit a shot at Twin Springs, and they put time back on the clock, and it was Sean Hale. And, Twin Springs winds up winning that. I can remember listening to Lloyd Combs on the radio and, just crying, not like baby tears, but just like you're so frustrated. And then, Rick got it cranked up 92-96, and you got Neil Rasnick. They lost one home game, and I always loved Council, but I also, at the time I was at Garden, Eric Osborne hit like 7 or 8 threes, in 96. And there I am, 12 years old, losing my mind because, Eric Osborne's unconscious. It's the only home game they lost on senior night. They had the old Council bleachers, so you got a fire marshal game. It's just crazy. And then, Rick runs another one. Hayside gets going. Honaker gets going. You had the Route 80 bragging rights. And, and when Garden and Whitewood's enrollment was dropping, I can remember we got playing the Arby's, but my favorite was playing at Hayside. The game sold out at 3:30, and the fire marshal comes down, and people are sitting Indian style around the court, man. And they're just living and dying with every basket. And then Twin Valley puts together, Moore and Jay Moore's team, they make a run. So I think Rick won the District 4, then maybe Moore won it 5 times in a row. And Hayside and Honaker always had good teams, man. And it's just those rivalries. And those players, man, I'm getting kind of old. I like I said, I'm in middle school. So, Cooper's a principal. Coach Goodman's retired. And, Dave Sutherland unfortunately passed away. And you had Trevor, all the guys, they're legends to me, are kind of getting out of the game a little bit. You just kind of look around and it's sad. But, I just got the utmost respect for like a Neil and anybody in the BDD. Those guys that's pure coaching, man. They're just, you got the enrollment you go down the hall, and so you coach what you can coach, man. And I think the BDD, it is coming to an end slowly but surely. But, I think the people were able to pull from that. It always kind of impacted me and impacted everybody else. And, I think you saw things you won't see anymore. Just this day and age, it's kind of, the game's changing a little bit, with, if I don't like the coach, I'm going down the road. I'm transferred. I got my NIL deal. I'm gone. And everybody. I don't know. Like maybe everybody loves everybody now. Hey, I'm going to put your stats on my story. When we played, it was a rivalry, man. And it, between the lines, I respect you, but I'm trying to beat you on that scoreboard, and I miss those rivalries. As much because people. I guess it's just the competitors. It was a different era.
We're talking about environments in Cumberland. We're talking about road trips that weren't safe. You mentioned a lot of people don't remember and don't realize, but Pocahontas was kind of a dangerous place to go to a game back in the day. Man, my dad's told me stories. People forget about Pocahontas.
Yeah, they do, man. It's kind of like Hurley. You got one road in, one road out, man. Small court, they're going to get after you, and fans are pretty unruly. I think at one point they couldn't go to Pocahontas, in the dark. Just those rivalries and stuff. And also shout out to Bobby Lester, man, one of the best pure shooters to ever fire it up anywhere.
I'm working on getting him on here.
You need to, man.
It's a tough process, but I'm working on it.
He's probably swished buckets in 4 generations, from blue jeans to swimming trunks. I think everybody knows Bobby playing old timers, man. He's automatic.
Mentioned Roger and Greg. I try to explain Roger to people. Any funny? We wanted to do this with Coach Jones during football season. We couldn't really do a lot, but any good Roger stories that you got? I got one, but I mean it's probably not as funny as maybe some you got.
Roger, man, he's one of the winningest coaches there, and I got a couple on him, so I got him for driver's ed. And you get there to Garden, you got that T intersection. Richland is right, Grundy's left, and he's really and truly there, Patrick. We're gonna go up here to. Coach, is that up or down the road? He goes up. And it was funny. We there my junior year, we ran Britt Coleman just into the ground. 40 carries a game, so we had 27 sweep, 28 sweep, 24 dive. About 4 plays, and coach would get going. It was funny. I can remember at Garden we played, and we were sitting in the locker room, and Coach Rice won a lot of games, and he said, "Boys," he said, "I've got a game plan for you." And I said, "Oh man," you kind of sit up in your chair, and you say, "Man, this guy, games, what do you got for us, Coach?" He said, "We're going to score more points than Council tonight." I went, I think we went out there, and J-Rack cranked in like 10 threes, and Brad was getting there, and I just kind of sat up and I just kind of laughed. Roger's a great coach, man. He's one of the winningest coaches, and I think he's probably had one of the best political careers ever, Buchanan County, but he's just funny.
Yeah, great guy. Him and Coach Rife. I mean, I call Greg Coach Rife because I play for him. But both of them, great. Yeah, great guys to be around. And Cam, I got another question about. It's going to be a lengthy one. So you want to go ahead? Anything you got?
You go ahead. You good?
I was going to ask. We got the council program, but independent tournaments. I was going to jump into that. What are the ones you hated playing at the most? You don't have to really answer this if you don't want. Just but any particular people you hated playing against?
Now people will kind of get it. I guess I don't hate playing against anybody. I really don't. Like, it's just I'm a highly competitive person. It's almost to a science. So if you're on my team, great. If you're not on my team, it's probably bad. We butted head a couple of times, but if I'm on your team, I'm going to back you up. I don't think I ever hated playing anywhere, any tournaments, because, I just never had that mentality that it was going to be bad or anything. So, and also hitched my wagon to some pretty talented guys, So
yeah,
all night long we were able to play. Those guys from Old Timers. I don't think there was any time that I ever hated playing anywhere, but I enjoyed it, man. That was, if they had NFHS cameras on some of those 10 years, either people would be in a lot of trouble or would be very, very rich and be viral,
Probably a little bit of both. I guarantee there'd be some charges brought, but there will be some entertainment out of it.
We've hit some game winners. We've had game winners hit on us. I can remember being 18 and riding with Neil to Chilhowie to the 3rd annual Warrior Shootout. I still have that shirt somewhere that doesn't fit. And off the tip, they tip it to Mr. Jennings. You're 18, you feel like you're 10 feet tall and Superman. Mr. Jennings throws an oop, and I said, and I go up. Next thing I know, probably my first or second introduction to Castlewood was Calvin Topper sits on my head. He just off it and dunks. I said, oh my gosh. I said, we're in for it, But independent tournaments, man, we would go and play all day, and Old Timers, you'd have 30 people at Old Timers and BBF gym too, man, and the old pharmacy school. You get those people in there. To me, that's what made me better, and I just loved it as a competitor, man. So I don't think I ever hated playing anywhere. The only time I hated it was when DJ picked a fight with the biggest guys in there. DJ, I kind of had to be the enforcer because Travis and Neil are just great guys, and DJ would he's either a score or foul, and he gets under your skin, but he's hard to guard, and it's just tough. So I always hated anytime I guess I thought that it might pop off into like an actual fight. So we're never trying to fight anybody, but we're also trying to get people out there.
No, the last time I played in one with DJ, I told him I never would again, and I haven't because I ended up spending I don't know how many hours in the hospital with him after this tournament. Somebody stepped on the back of his head and put his head into the ground, knocked him out, like scared me to death. Yeah. And I said, DJ, I can't do this. Like I can't. We can't go to these places. And it's the same situation you said. Pick the right one, got under his skin the whole game. Finally, the guy had enough. And I was like, we can't be doing this, man. You can't, you're going to get us, love him to death. But,
yeah, I guess my thing is, man, I always got my guys back no matter what. So if that's a technical because we're getting, I feel like we're getting fouled or a different shakeout, or we're playing an old men's tournament and somebody, my buddy hip, somebody's going to swing on him. Can't remember ever a time that we had a fight per se, but they always got a little chippy and just competitive, man.
Yeah.
I like that personally. I wish that kids were a little more competitive, and everybody seems like has really nice kids now. And that's not a bad thing, but just within the rules and the confines of the game, man, let's just compete. Just play hard. You can like somebody's snap face story later, but let's get out there, and compete.
The last one I had involving old timer stuff like that. You have any good Blank and Lester's memories or funny stories?
Oh man, too many. Trying to think, man. It's I think it might have been Billy Lester. Was at a tournament one time, and maybe a guy challenged him to go outside, and I think his famous quote that I can remember was, "It was too far to walk." It just popped off. He just popped it off right there, and I was like I said, Mike. I love Mike. Mike made me a better player because I'm a sixth grade, 80-pound, soaking wet, and he's just playing grown man defense on me. That's not a foul, and. So that's where actually. So I got to give Mike credit. That's where all night long our team name came from because Mike shot, bob that head, down all night long. So when I came to Council, we would play Mike, and that's kind of where that came from, man. But probably my favorite story was we had open gym one time, and Jeff Blankenship was down there playing with us. The old guys would come in, help us out. And two guys tried to get in a fight. And, Jeff, I don't know if it was a Chevy Luma or a Corsica, he drove from the back seat. I mean, he is gigantic. He used to go up for rebounds, and I would do pull-ups on his bicep, trying to get a loose ball. And those two guys come in cussing, screaming, and the coaches say, hey, you can't be in here. This is an open gym. We're not going to do that. And, Jeff comes over and just says, boys, if anybody does the fighting, it'll be me, and neither you two will win that fight. And I said, man, I believe him. So I've never seen him fight this spell like that quick. He just defused that whole situation with about 2 words, and they were talking and working it out on the way out the door, So, but I love those guys, man. Ricky, all the Blake and Lesters, man. You were just going to play. They were going to play hard, man. You could almost turn the lights off, and those guys could throw it to a spot, man. It was good basketball. It made everybody better.
Go ahead, Cam. I told you it was going to take a while. I knew once we got on a little bit of that.
I enjoyed hearing it. A lot of these people you mentioned, I only see them in small. I remember, certain times I've met these guys, and most of the time it was like BBF gym or something playing.
Right.
And so to hear these stories and stuff, for me, I'm a little younger. I love it.
Well, looking back, like they were older guys, but now that I'm an older guy, like, man, they're still young. But it's just kind of awesome. There's been really good runs of people everywhere, man. The independent tournaments, I like that because you can always kind of get that synergy, and you're going to play good people and stuff. And it's usually we raise money for stuff or something. I always good cause. A lot of people, house fires or cancer, people like that, man. People just come together and play some basketball. So there's a lot of good things, and maybe get a T-shirt out of it. Hopefully keep DJ off the floor and ankles safe, and not go to jail.
One thing that I did want to give you a platform to talk about before we got you off of here, and I seen you talking about on Instagram, and that's Luke from Richlands. Y'all are trying to raise some money for him, so I wanted you to have a chance to tell us about that and tell everybody.
So we did that. I think that he actually got his insurance. He was from Richlands, but that's actually, it's been a little while. I think it may be posted on there. So we just recently had 2 students that had a house fire, but the good people, I'm kind of old and been around. So, I have people, like Freddie Ellswick at Ramey's and Mayer and Brady Hess. You had him on. You go to Richlands and those are guys. And then you got Moore and Mike Wright at Twin Valley. So, you got all the people that you've kind of been around over the years. We were able to raise a lot of money, and he had to pay something like 10% of his deductible. And for a special prosthetic leg, I think we met our goal, and we were able to raise that money. So he's actually got that leg. And then just recently, I think we were able to raise something like $3,300 for those 2 young men that go to Castlewood. So, just a lot of good people like we talked about, man. Just, especially at Christmas time, they were able to kick in a couple 25 here and there, but there's just so many good people. Anytime that we need something, it just seems like people just go above and beyond. So I'm thankful for that.
It's great, yeah. And after you mentioned that, I did remember you putting that on there about the two gentlemen from Castlewood too. So that's great to hear that. And if sorry, I had to pull it up there. But anytime going forward, you want to hop on here with us.
Yeah, man. I'll be glad to. Like I said, you guys yell at me. We're in the dog days of it, so we're trying to avoid sickness, and then get in there those district games when you game plan and know people and try to get going. But I love this. I like that y'all highlight the kids, man. I like hearing the kids. Maybe we can culture them up, get them some good music. Some of those answers, that's man. Not what's the throwback, Jay? Well, I like that it's throwback when it was times when I was like alive and it wasn't.
Well, yeah,
the throwback is my modern.
See, this week's especially is going to be a little bit later on, but it was because we had Jaylon Hart and we heard his dad talk about bulls, raising bulls and selling bulls on Travis's podcast. So this week it was Should Have Been a Cowboy by Toby Keith. So it was 93 was one. So
that's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, we were used talking about the kids and their music. Back-to-back weeks, the pregame music has been country. Last week you had Zach Brown.
Man,
this week
I
it
don't
was
know
Keith Whitley.
If I could play ball like Jonah Looney or play football like Parker Banjo, I guess I should listen to country. I'm listening to old school Nas, from Kanye West, AC/DC.
Yeah.
I got two bugaboos with music. All right, we went to Pocahontas again and the Poly Boys, and Middlesboro, Kentucky. When I was with Chris, we had the electric harmonica. So if I ever hear electric harmonica national anthem, I'm out because we got beat. They ran on us like Hulkamania. And then we played Jenkins and Winston Lee, who is, if you get a chance to look him up, Marty Smith's doppelganger. He's twin. So we're playing Jenkins, Kentucky, and Castlewood. I said, guys, I don't care. A little bit country, like the Council of Russell County. We play Dixieland Delight by Alabama, and I look, and it's like the people from Jenkins are getting superpowers. Like they're in the highlight, they're down there flat foot. And I said, man, we have hyped up these guys from Kentucky. Man, they just ran through us, man. They were hyped, about started tearing the rim off. I said, no more Alabama versus Kentucky teams,
It's like Jaylon was on before you there, and his because the whole thing about this, I was like, what gets these guys going? What gets them amped up? What gets them pumped up? Because I was kind of like you when I had a little bit of rap mix, when I was listening. And I might listen to, a little bit before that. But when it comes down, like right before the game, I wanted, some Eminem or some 50 Cent, something like that, some rock.
Coach Moore, man, he would cut them lights off. And he's always playing those mind games.
Oh,
Play that Phil Collins in the air tonight. I like that. I'm old.
See, I missed all that.
When it didn't matter what he played when your all's team came out there with you, KC. He could play lullabies and get going. So.
But Jaylon,
I like.
Sorry, go ahead.
To a little Tom Brady, little Jay-Z public service announcement getting going. I'm like you. I'll listen to some old school Metallica, get my mind right, and maybe something. I guess I'm old enough. We always came out to Disturbed down with the sickness, so I got special feeling with that. But I always tell my guys, I said, man, it's your team, play something, they're Taylor Swift out there, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Jaylon's was Keith Whitley.
Oh.
How are you getting hyped up energetic with. I just want to go relax and chill out, or be sad about something when I hear Keith Whitley. But
Jaylon's a good player, man. He does a great job on that team, man, and he plays great defense and hustle. So I don't Keith Whitley's synonymous with heartbreak for me. Tell Lori I love her. Or maybe no stranger to the rain or something. But I don't know if I'm listening to it in the game, but to each their own, man.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah,
whatever gets you going, man. That's your thing. So I'm a superstitious guy myself. So
for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, like I said, we appreciate having you on. I think we could probably sit on here and talk for hours. Which I think Jay Moore's got to work tomorrow, so we probably too. So it's probably a good cutting point. But we appreciate you coming on. And Jay Moore,
man, I appreciate y'all having me on, and I enjoy the podcast and enjoy listening to your guys and the takes and stuff, man. And especially enjoy putting that out there, like hearing from those kids, man. Y'all doing a great job. So between you and Southwest Virginia podcast there with Travis, I got a 35-minute commute each way, so an hour and 10 I'm in there, just got my phone playing stuff, listening to that. So I enjoy it, man. Y'all are doing a great job there. I like it.
Well, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and man, good luck going forward in the season.
Thanks, man. If y'all get down, we've got about 5 home games come down to catch a game. We'll put you up in the Jerry Sparks skybox up there, or you guys can come down and hopefully enjoy some competitive Cumberland District basketball. And
have you all had East Side at home yet?
We haven't had East Side at home. I think that's our last game in February, and we go there next Friday. So we've got Ryko, Burton, Thomas Walker coming to Castlewood. So those are all hopefully competitive games. Like I said, man, there's some world beaters down there in the Cumberland. So
I'll try to come over for that when I got to where I see the kids and all that and stuff. So that'd be a good two birds, one stone. So
they're doing Duckers down there doing a good job. Terry Ann, they've got that girls program, cranking there with Coach Ruff. She took over and didn't miss a beat, man. They're cranked up. And East Side, those are them and Norton, and our girls are playing really well as well. They're competing, so it's kind of a good thing to see, But yeah, you guys are welcome anytime, man.
Awesome, man. We definitely appreciate the offer, and we appreciate your support.
Yeah, no, send out those koozies I saw, the long one or short one there. So
Got you, man.
I'm a Code Red guy during basketball season. Ask me about my diabetes. I don't ever sleep. And Coach Jones sent me a thing. Coach Ray Jones, I met Judd there and just talking. When I got there, it's a funny story. So I have a letter, and I've not been in Castlewood for like a week, right? And I get there, and I'm like, how do I have mail? I just came down here. I was like, am I already fired? Is this a pink slip? And Coach Ray Jones had wrote me a handwritten letter, just said, good luck. You'll do a good job because of your work ethic. And I said, man, for him to say that, because Judd's one of my best friends now when I came to Ridgelands, and just, Ray Jones, I'll tell you a funny one of him on J Mar. He got out of basketball by the time you guys came, but I was kind of always a role player. He had a rule you could challenge a starter for his spot. Well, obviously I'm our 5th and worst starter, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is challenging me, and I'm playing 5 games. And if you got scored on, you came out of the game. I said, what if I got hit with 4 screens? He didn't care. It was just all defense. So
he told us a little bit about that rule when I had him in class. I was like, I don't think that's how that works.
It worked, yeah.
Yeah,
the wall of green, I hit all the wall the other one, but it made you better defensively, man, because you said, gosh, I'm having to fight for my life here, and then you get down and you're getting hit with 4 screens. You can't give up a bucket. So defense all the way with him, man. I miss Coach Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had talked about you talked about during football season, didn't you, about doing some stuff there eventually. We got a lot of stuff.
I would like to get people on that could talk about him. Because I think
the mural's still there. Every time we went to a benefit game, every time I get a chance, man, I like to Miss Goodman's the principal there, and I like to hopefully they'll never paint over that,
Yeah.
That's just I go there and it's just kind of puts me in a different frame of mind. He was just so impactful on me as a coach and a teacher, man. He's kind of one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing is, he kind of just give you an attaboy and tell you, hey, I believe in you, and you're doing a good job, and give you those backhanded compliments. I remember I got burnt in football, and he said, I don't know how to coach you, Wade. And I said, what do you mean, Coach Jones? He said, you're all Little League One playing all district the next. And I was like, thank you, I think, and then he just, always stuff like that. And then we would practice beside the road, 460, so you would get the car horn or maybe the finger or maybe both or a smart aleck comment. He always had those one-liners, son of a Buick, Each Christmas be smart. And some I can't share on the air. I won't do him like that. He never used profanity, but he was a big urinated off guy. That always cracked me up. He was a character, man.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to, even when we do the football stuff, get you back on there for that too.
Yeah, it's football, man. It's great. I like seeing people in our area. I think Honaker had a great run. Parker and Tyler, they played with us at Richland, so always pull for those guys. I always try to give them that certified G stamp. That they're tough, man. So it's been fun to watch. So hopefully we have a good month or two of basketball, boys and girls, and can get back into it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all right, man. Like I said, we appreciate you coming on. We'll holler at you next time.
All right, man. See you guys. Thanks, fellas.
Appreciate it.
Mar, you gonna waste no time? You want to hop into it real quick? And
Sure.
Yeah, we'll discuss what you got this week's basketball. That's what I have down.
I didn't really write a whole lot of scores down. I just we're so week to week, and we go back. There was like half a week last week, and then it's just I didn't want to write down every single score like that, but I wrote down a few notes to talk about some things whatever you want to do. So
yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I got. I got a few scores just from this week, past few days, and then I'll let you lead with it, and I'll jump in wherever. You starting off with the boys first, or
we can do either one. I don't have any scores, so if you want to call out scores, you probably should go ahead, and I'll jump in, throw a note or two here what I got wrote down in.
No,
however you want to do it.
Yeah, that'll work. I guess
we'll
let's go ahead.
Throw this out there real quick because it's not Region D, but George Wythe coming out of the Arby's looked like an obvious, favorite to, maybe come out of this side of the state. But Auburn beat them the other night, and that's a big rivalry, I think, that's developed over the last, two very good teams. So that's something to keep an eye on there. Who's able to come out of that, in Region C? But obviously George Wythe beatable. Auburn got them already, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Who gets the best of that matchup going forward. But
and I was going to say, I think Honaker's got George Wythe here in a few weeks. Or maybe
they play regular season?
Might be next week. I think they have. I think it's like 2 games from now. I'd have to look it up here. But yeah, it's not too long. I think it's at George Wythe.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll just hop into it. Just some scores from this week. You did have Patrick Henry take down Chilhowie, and was a pretty big game. I'll let you go if you got any details on that.
No, just I think it was kind of shocking to a lot of people. I believe not that Patrick Henry is bad, but I think Chilhowie was expected to be second, compete for first in that district, and Patrick Henry's coming. They're coming along, man. They got, like we talked about earlier, they got the Kaywood brothers. I think they are very, very good players. I don't know much about them other than that, but obviously they're playing good right now. So it could be a good 3-way race. Maybe, I don't know, maybe even 4-way, but at least now with them added into that with Chilhowie and Honaker, could be a good 3-way race for that district. We'll see how it plays out, especially tomorrow night. Honaker and Patrick Henry play. We'll see how they're able to match up with them.
Yeah, kind of just to echo what you're saying. Cole ended up the brothers. Cole ended up getting 16 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists and 2 blocks. Cade ended up getting 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 3 assists. So they both do a little bit of everything. It seems like, And this game was a pretty big win, I think, because it was the first home loss in 12 games for Chilhowie. And that dated back, according to the paper, back to December 9th, 2022. So when they lost to Abingdon. So they've had a great home court advantage over there. So that's a huge win for Patrick Henry to come in there and pull that one out. And I think it kind of put everybody on notice that, hey, they're up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go ahead and go through some more, I know Honaker did play Abingdon, and I'll get to that one here in a minute. Last night, I think they fell to them, and what was a pretty close one. But earlier in the week, from what I had read and saw on the internet, they had a little power outage during the Holston-Honaker game, but strange stuff. But Honaker ended up coming away with that one, 54-23. Do you have anything on that more, or I got a few things.
Go ahead and read through the scores if you want to, and then I'll kind of hit it all.
You want to cover back?
Yeah, because we'll cover a couple of games for each school probably. So
that'll work. So just to run through these, you also had Rural Retreat 58-52 over Northwood. You can stop me if you want, or you just want to bounce back after either one. Just interrupt me if so. Grundy ended up with a pretty big one there against Twin Valley. Grundy won 94-40.
I will say that something about that one real quick. I don't know this for sure. But that's got to be up there with most lopsided home losses for Twin Valley. I would imagine. I don't want to talk about the game much because it sucks for being from there. But that's kind of, I don't know. There might be another one that was worse. I don't know, but I'd be curious to know if that was the worst home loss for a Twin Valley team. But
I know we haven't really covered them a whole lot in basketball, but John Battle, 73-50 over Lee High. Virginia High beat Tazewell earlier in the week. It was 61-45. I think they may have played again last night, but go ahead.
Who did you say just now?
Virginia High.
Oh, we'll get to Virginia High later, but John Battle, I think I might be completely wrong on this. They might have graduated or it might be a different school, but I think Mike Ratliff, that was a very good basketball player at Council. I think his son might play for Eastside and be, or not Eastside, but John Battle and be pretty good if I ain't mistaken. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I know their leading scorer, post player there the other night, ended up having 27. It was Porter Gobble. They got a few other ones there too, but they ended up having a pretty good game there. Just continue on with the scores. Hurley beat Council 76-35. Landon Bailey scored 23 in that one. I think Council in the first quarter is down 35-5 or 34-5 in the first quarter, so a little bit too big of a lead to catch back up.
Hurley's they could score some points. They even in some of their closer games this year, they've been high scoring, so they're very capable of putting up some points. So
Landon, he's been I think there's a few games now that he's been in the 20s, and I think close to 30 there. One game, I think.
That week that George Wythe had a 90-something game in Arby's. I think Hurley had a 90-something, 80-something game with somebody
against
Castlewood. Maybe, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I think that Graham. I think they may have played Bluefield last night, but just for earlier in the week, they beat Richland 75-30. We also had Lebanon playing Marion, and I thought I've heard some good things about Marion and Spurs this year, but Lebanon ended up beating them 83-65. Reese had another huge game, 26 points.
That margin though, that could have been a very good game up to the last few minutes, and foul shots put that ahead. So that that could have been a competitive game. It's not really that's one of those points in the spread, margin of victories right there where it could be real misleading about how close the game it was.
Yeah. You had Eastside beating Twin Springs 51-43. Then you also had Gate City with a pretty lopsided victory over Ridgeview, 71-34. Eli McMurray in that game had 26 points for Gate City. And I think they ended up being pretty spread around. I think Gunnar Garrett only had 7 in this one. I think he's the one we've mentioned quite a bit. So they got a few kids over there that can score the ball.
Do you remember another McMurray that come through from Gate City? Or are you too young to?
Probably too young.
Jesse McMurray, I'm pretty sure is his name. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. You'd think I would know for sure. I think he played when he's like a year older than me, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a year younger. I can't remember. Older, I think. But we talking about putting up some points in a hurry. Very, very good. Extremely athletic. He wasn't very tall, but he jumped 3 foot off the ground on his jump shot. Like he's a very good player. I can't remember where he went to college to play, but had a very good college career too. But you saying that name kind of sparked a memory of him being at Gate City. But
they've got a lot of talent go through that program.
Yeah, people who are younger and didn't follow it kind of learned about, thought about Mac, McClung or whatever, and it's like obvious for good reason, obviously. But you can't. I don't know if I can go back anytime I can remember Gate City and not think of great players. And I mean, it's just I've always had at least somebody that was really, really good.
Yeah. Like you said, that kind of for us younger ones, the Mac McClung run there with him and Irvin, that was huge.
Yeah, they don't realize how far back. Some younger people don't realize how far back that tradition at Gate City goes, and But I only know we'd have to do a deep dive on that. But even when they were 2A, man, they had some real players over there that people may not even really over this way may not even know about.
Just to continue with the scores and stuff. Thomas Walker beat Castlewood 59-54. It was a pretty close one. Tanner Epperly had 18 points and 16 boards. But we mentioned, or P. Wade as well, mentioned Caden Ditchman, and he ended up having 32 in this game in the loss. But he
fill it up too. I'd like to go watch
better scores.
I'm gonna go over and watch him play. We need to try to see him in person because it seems like every other day every game you see him putting up 30 something. So he can score some points in a hurry.
Rye Cove beat J.I. Burton 63-44, and that's the ones that I have. One second, I'll tell you. We also had the Abingdon Honaker score. That one was last night. Abingdon ended up pulling away with that one in what was a pretty close game. So it was 62-55, and Luke Honaker ended up having 18 points for Abingdon. So they avenged their loss that they had to Honaker earlier in the year. And in that same game, I was trying to think. I was thinking Keaton had a pretty big game in that. Yeah, I thought I had it up there. But regardless, pretty close game. They were 1-1 in the year so far between both of them.
Yeah. Aberdeen being 3A, it's not a bad loss, obviously. Honaker, Coach Hart talked about on Travis's podcast about how they've always seemed to be a late in the season team. They'll start off slow for some reason and get better, and so I would expect them to just keep that trajectory and keep getting better and better as the year goes on. They're going to be a very, very, very tough team to beat in the single A. So they I feel like they're definitely got a postseason run coming for them. I feel like in that region, I haven't watched enough people play, obviously, and we'll find out more. I don't see anybody coming close to them in single A. When I say close, I don't mean like blowing everybody out, but I think they're the clear favorite to win the region right now. You could throw a Grundy in there or a Chill Howie, obviously, and the East Side's always well coached, and there's several teams, but I think there's a clear-cut favorite from what I've seen.
Yeah, and I think the record they have is a little misleading just because of the level of the teams they're playing.
Yeah, they've played some tough schedule so far.
Yeah. And I'd have, as of right now, Patrick Henry in that mix if they continue to play like they're playing, and those brothers ended up or keep it up with what they're doing because they're very versatile, and they're putting it up. I mean, assists, the rebound, scoring. I mean, they're kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, my boys tried to do like a thing for football. I can do football, but I list four. Top four that I got right now. I got Honaker, Grundy, Chilhowie, and Eastside. I just put Grundy up there ahead of Chilhowie because I don't know anything about Chilhowie, but I know they're a good team. So this is just kind of my first original poll just to get some names on there, and we'll adjust more as we go along. But that's what I got right now. My four I see possibly having the best chance of getting to the region to play in the semis. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, is there any games you want to highlight there before we move on and talk about
just talking about Virginia High? Virginia High was picked to preseason to finish third in the behind Graham and Lebanon in the Southwest District, and they've beat them both early in the year so far. So they're a good young team to keep an eye on. That's another good race for that district. That's apparently going to be a very competitive down the stretch between them three. And then you throw John Battle in there, possibly, in the mix, being a tough team to play too. So that's another good competitive district to keep an eye on. And they got an early jump on them now. Playing them each, beating them each. So we'll see how that continues to go along and keep an eye on that. But Grundy, very capable team. It's not their fault they don't play in a big district anymore. They really can't help that. Twin Valley and Hurley, it's not anybody's fault that they don't have but 3 teams, 4 teams in the district. But it is what it is. But 2A, I was going to just go ahead and throw us some of these. I went ahead and put Virginia High up top right now because they just beat Lebanon and Graham. So Chelsea beat them. I'm gonna go ahead and put them up there, but just throw some other ones out. You got Virginia High, Lebanon, Gate City, and Graham. That's the 4 I'm throwing out right now. We'll learn more about some of these going forward, and I'll try to update each week and who's my top 4 are. But that's for boys. That's who I got right now.
Yeah, and I know the game itself may not have been a close game, but I did want to mention as far as the Grundy game goes, Landon Johnson had a pretty big game in that. He had 21 points. I think he got 14 of those in the first quarter, according to the paper. But Jory gave us a heads up, said, hey, we have an Italian foreign exchange student. We talked about in the podcast last week how to pronounce his name, and I wish I could clip that and play it now so I don't butcher it again. But he said he'd be all right if we just went by David. I don't know that I could even say his last name. But he ended up having 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks and 4 assists. I wanted to throw that out there because it sounds like he's starting to pick up on it pretty good.
Well, it's a bad barometer to judge by last night.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's a good confidence booster, a good way to get you going.
It's definitely a good way to get going. Yeah. That's yeah.
I also wanted to mention, just give a shout out for one of the Twin Valley kids. Blake Cooper had 20 points in the loss, so he ended up scoring.
Yeah, good game. I think that's got to be the high scoring for anybody for them this season. So yeah, shout out to him for sure.
Do you got anything else before you want to jump in?
Yeah, go ahead and hit the girls.
All right. Well, I guess we'll kind of go just like how we did with the boys. We'll go through some scores. You can stop me if you need to, or we can work our way back as well.
I'll try to wait until you get through them all. This time.
Well, I mean, as I go through them, I kind of, throw in some things too. But, so Rye Cove ended up beating J.I. Burton 38-36. As Tuesday night, Kaylee Lamb ended up having 18 points in that game. Well, it was a pretty close game there. Maybe the biggest news in Southwest Virginia as far as basketball goes right now, with Hammonds from Eastside transferring over to J.I. Burton. So right now, I don't think she didn't play that game, so they're still waiting for her eligibility to have her first game. I'm not sure when that's going to be yet. They're not sure, but they're getting some good help coming over that way. Very good scorer, probably one of the better players in Southwest Virginia. As we go on from that, Ridgeview and Gate City. Ridgeview ended up having 68 to 28 over Gate City. Let's see here. We also had Rural Retreat 65 to 13 over Northwood. Virginia High 61 to 28 over Tazewell. John Battle 58 to 47 over Lehigh. Council in a close one against Hurley, 48 to 45. They were down. I think trailing as many as 17 is what the paper said. They ended up coming back. Ella Rasnick, who you've mentioned on the pod, Jamor, I think one of the first few weeks, really good young talent in our area. She ended up having 23 points and 3 assists in that game. So that was a tight one, real tight. I'm sure that environment there was pretty crazy with them coming back like that and pulling off getting the victory. Then you had Honaker over Holston, 71 to 22. Taylor Nolly again had a huge game. She seems to be there. I feel like every week they're talking about her in the paper. She ended up getting 13 points, 5 steals, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds in that game. So a little bit of everything. Then you have Thomas Walker beating Castlewood, 48 to 34. East Side over Twin Springs, 58 to 42. Marion over Lebanon, 57 to 32. Graham over Richlands, 51 to 42. Grundy over Twin Valley, 61 to 42. And that's all we got on those. Do you have any that you want to highlight there?
Just the Hammonds thing, the J.I. Burton, that's kind of wild that we live in a. Well, I don't want to say we live in because it's kind of always been that way, I guess. But that's just wild to me, coming from the perspective I come from in high school. That you can just transfer during the middle of the season. It's just kind of crazy to think that that's happening. It's not just her; it happens everywhere, all the time. It's just kind of wild. But that's a big deal for Burton.
Yeah.
They already got 1,000-point scorer, and Williams, I think's her name, maybe.
Yeah, that's what.
So you add Hammond, who's 1,000-point scorer already. Just a junior, add her to that. Getting a very good offensive player, can score from anywhere, off dribble, jump shots, weird angles, tough shots, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they mesh together there. That's a little bit of a rivalry between Eastside and J.I. Burton. So, for them to go head-to-head, pretty big games the last couple of years that's now joined, I'd say there'll be an adjustment period there, they'll have to get used to. But be interesting to keep an eye on how that goes. Y Central is head and shoulders above everybody else around here.
Yeah, I didn't even mention them.
Yeah, McCamus and Looney are a very good 1-2 punch, it seems like, out there. Looney got her 1,000 rebounds in her career. McCamus is just ridiculous. Look good. I'm going to try to go watch her play at some point this year. So they're just – you got that coach that she's, like, it's just tough. They got everything. They got the culture, everything that they need over there to continue to be successful year in, year out. And I don't know anybody right now. I mean, Ridgeview looks really good on some of the scores I've seen and a good record. So it may be, Y Central favored and Ridgeview maybe we'll have to see what happens when they play each other. But
yeah, I just
then you had Racco upsetting Burton. So like, how's stuff like that don't make it's just kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
I just want to say before you get off of the Burton and the Y Central stuff, Yeah, Burton, the girl you mentioned, Sarah Williams. That's who it was that had the 1,000 points. So it's going to be interesting to have 2,000-point scorers on one team. I'm not sure how many varsity girls teams around here have that right now. So we'll see how they click together, and that could take them to the level.
I'd imagine Central's about the only other one.
Yeah, Central. Well,
Ridgeview maybe. I don't know what they got.
I was going to say on Central, you mentioned McCamus. So this week she passed Logan Reynolds as the second all-time leading scorer over there. And I don't know, did you ever watch Logan when she played?
Yeah, very, very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes, I think she went on to play at JMU.
Yeah, very good. A little bigger, I think, from what I remember, a little taller than McCamus, but I think I'm pretty sure.
Shot though. I remember.
Yeah, but very good.
Yeah. So McCamus is well over right now, or she's over 1,700 points, and probably on pace to get 2,000. So just kind of want to throw that out there while it's relevant this week. But, you can go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, and she's just a junior, right? I think. Or is she a senior? I think she's a junior. Pretty sure.
Yeah, she's a class of 25. So.
Yeah, so
wow.
She's going to blow about every record over there out of the water, probably. Talking about Ella from over council, like we talked about her, very skilled. Neil's got them playing pretty good over there. It seems like, team-wise too, not just her. They've getting better and better. So Grundy's girls, that score Twin Valley game, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch it to look at that and see, but maybe it's a little too much for Twin Valley. I thought maybe it'd be a little bit closer than that, but you just never know week to night. So maybe Grundy's might not be much competition for them in the district, but we'll still early, so we'll see how everybody's got to play each other twice. So it's we'll see how it goes. But Honaker, man, keeps rolling, and girls, they seems like every time you read a stat, they got 4 in double figures, whether it be the McNulty or the one you mentioned, Nolly, or then you got I can't remember that girl's name now, the post player that it's not good. I can't remember it, but I can't. I don't know. And then
you're talking like Jessie.
Yeah, I mean she's putting points up and rebounds, and then Misty's daughter, what's her name?
Callie.
Callie, yeah. The point guard who's very unselfish, very good passer, gets everybody going. So, but you see her in double figures, so they're kind of on a roll right now. And I seen Carroll County, I think if I'm not mistaken, it is ranked 10th in the state on max preps. Now, somebody can message us or something and tell me if I looked at that wrong, but I'm pretty sure I seen they were ranked 10th. And this is out of everybody, not just, I'm pretty sure it's everything. AAA, AA, single A, 4A, whatever, 5, 6. And 2 of Honaker's losses are to them by 3 points and by 4 points, I think it was, or 5. And they're ranked 10th in the state out of every division. Yeah. So that tells you what, when Honaker's playing good, what kind of team they got. Kind of what we expected. I think Ridgeview is probably pretty good too. We can go watch them play. But in 1A, I have Honaker, Eastside, J.I. Burton, and Royal Retreat right now as a 4 to watch and see what happens in that region, or 1A in the region. And then 2A, you have Y Central, Ridgeview, Virginia High. And honestly, the fourth one, I kind of got a tie between Graham and John Battle. I really don't know who I would go with there, but 2A is kind of top heavy, I feel like, right now. So we'll just see how that plays out. But that's what I have.
Just to comment on, I want to throw out this too. We talked about Burton getting Hammonds and stuff, but Eastside's still trucking along. They beat Twin Springs, I mentioned earlier, Tara Clay, she ended up having 18 points for them, and they're still at the top right now at the Cumberland. So there's still a lot of positives there.
They're going to be a different team now. Offensively, they're going to have to, get production from other places. But, I mean, you don't have to have one person step up to replace those points. You could have a committee step up and replace, so they just got to draw from more of a team, more balanced scoring. But defensively, I don't think they're going to change at all. I think they're still going to be a very, very good defensive team. Maybe even get a little better on defense. I don't know. But we'll see how that plays out. Like I said, you may sacrifice some points, but you may also become harder to score on, so it may equal out, somehow. But or it could be a rush, or it could be a struggle for them. I mean,
We'll find out.
Chemistry thing. You never know. Yeah, they've never had to play without her, so we'll see how it goes. You just never really know how things like that are going to affect people.
One more, you mentioned the Grundy and Twin Valley. I just want to shout out Grundy's Jade Vinsel. She had 14 points and 5 rebounds, and she had played at Twin Valley before. So she's playing against her former team. Something I want to do before we get off of this.
That's another thing, transferring. She played against her former team because she left the team she's at now. It's like, and it's nothing against any of them. I just think I just didn't see it as much back in the day, but whatever people want to do. I mean, it's legal. I'm not gonna hold it against anybody, but it's just kind of crazy to see it as much as you do nowadays compared to what it used to be. I guess is the thing. It's not, I'm not saying people should or shouldn't do anything.
Just before we get off of the high school basketball, I want to shout out some of these scores that just happened tonight. Grundy beat Hurley, varsity girls, 55-39. Then we go up here. There's not many, but in varsity boys, Grundy beat Hurley, 67-40. 4 scores and double figures for the Golden Wave. So then you also have George Wythe got back in the win column, beat Bland County 81-30. And then lastly, you had Ryco varsity girls. They got another win. They beat Holston 61-22. I want to throw those out there while I saw them.
Who beat Holston?
The last one I said?
Yeah.
Ryco.
Ryco.
Yeah.
Beat Holston?
Yeah, 61-22.
Okay.
So, yeah. I guess that kind of sum up everything we got for basketball this week. Do you have anything else before we move on?
No. How long were y'all on there before I jumped on?
Maybe 10 or so minutes. Not long.
So we're not over 2 hours yet.
No, we're about there. Which only thing I had left. I did want to just real quick throw out there what the paper had about the guys that had got All-State, local guys. And that's the only thing we got left. Unless you come up with anything else that you want to throw out there before.
I could talk about whatever you want to talk about. I could tell stories.
Yeah.
Make it last a while. It don't matter to me, buddy.
Yeah.
You get me started on some the blanking listers, as people like to call them. My dad and cousins and uncles and whatever other kind of family you can think of that played together. I could tell stories all night, have you rolling laughing. So
we really need to get all of them on.
I wish.
Yeah. That would be one. I mean, everybody would want to see and hear.
Let me elaborate a little bit on what I said about DJ. I don't want I was playing on DJ's team that day I was talking about over there, and I think it was in Tazewell. And I don't know if you know DJ or not, but DJ knows how to get under people's skin when he wants to or needs to. Playing in a basketball game, he does it on purpose, and it's not because he's just that guy. It's intentional. He just does it to throw you off. And I guess he pushed this guy a little too far that day, and they got tripped up or tangled up somehow or another, and DJ went down, and when the dude went by him or over him, just took his foot and stepped on the back of DJ's head, and I don't know how bad it. I mean, it looked awful. And I'm not saying DJ was faking anything by no means, but I think he. I don't know. Part of me wonders, like, if he was, selling it, but they got to him though and realized real quick that it was real bad. Like, I mean, so ended up having to figure out how to get into his phone and call somebody. I can't remember who we called. We got him to the doctor hospital of Tazewell. But yeah, I told him, I said, I can't do this anymore, man. Because when this happened, I don't know, I wasn't very, it's been a long time ago. So like I don't even think me and Melissa together. So I was probably maybe just not long out of college, maybe, or something. Maybe me and Melissa were together. Maybe at the time, maybe I was already working on the ground in mines. I don't know. But we ran after, me and another guy ran after that dude outside, chasing him down to try to, but I don't know what we were going to do. I guess we were going to press charges of some kind because we thought DJ was in bad shape, we're going to try to get him to stay there somehow or another, or I don't know whatever come of it, but I told DJ, I was like, we can't be doing this with you. You get people, like kind of, he always said, you're kind of an enforcer out there because you got to have your buddies back and stuff. And I did that day, but I was like, moving forward, like I can't be out here trying to do all this. So I think it was the last tournament I played with on his team with him.
I would love to have DJ on, even just to give, I know he refs a lot, to give a perspective.
Yeah, and it's a good player in high school.
Yeah.
Big one to bring on.
If you want to, real quick, 'cause I'm going to step off here just for a second, use the bathroom. Do you care to tell everybody about our merch and stuff and what we might have coming forward, just for a brief moment?
Sure. We got 2 koozies that I can't find to show you tonight, but we'll try to get them on here next time, and I'll have them ready. Have an American flag kind of based one, and then a camouflage based one with Porch Talk logos on the front and back. If seems like we're going to get enough interest in these, we could do like a big bulk order and try to sell them to people, but we're trying to hold off on just ordering a bunch of them until we know maybe there's some interest. So shoot us a message or leave us something, somewhere on some of the social media stuff if you think, if you'd be interested in that. At some point, we'd like to try to get some T-shirts made. So if you'd be interested in any kind of merch, T-shirts, koozies, hats, anything like that, let us know the feedback on that, and we can try to work something out and figure out what we're going to do moving forward and what to make. I think that's really about it right now. I do have this hat. I don't have it on. It's too small for me, but that's kind of it won't really focus, but that's kind of one of the stickers we got on our patches on the hats. But yeah, so we'll figure all that out. But for anybody out there that's ever played in one of those, what do they call them, old man tournaments or independent tournaments, especially back then, back in the day, the 90s or early 2000s, or maybe, before that, however, that was a whole different type of atmosphere in playing ball. It was very physical, very tempered. People got into a lot of stuff. So if anybody ever played that kind of tournament, where I'm coming from about the, fighting and stuff like that. It's something you didn't want to do, but something that usually got brought up that you thought you may have to every time you went anywhere. He's like, I wonder what's going to happen this time. I never personally got into anything like that, but that one time. So that's people who've played those tournaments know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you've played against DJ or somebody like DJ, you know what I'm talking about. So love him, but hate playing against him. And at that point, I hated playing with him because you just never knew what was going to happen. But love him like a brother, man. Me and him have a interesting relationship, I think. But I think the world of him.
Well, DJ, if you listen to this, and hopefully you do, we'll have to get you on here soon.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Before we get off here, we wanted to recognize some local football players. They released the VHSL Class 1 team. Honaker, of course, as we expected, kind of highlighted most of it. They ended up having 5 players get in there. Peyton Music, quarterback, senior receiver Parker Bandy, and Aiden Lowe, also on their first team offense. Lowe was chosen as the first team all-purpose player in offense, and Bandy got first team honors as the defensive back as well. Tyler Cole earned second team honors as offensive and defensive lineman. Avery Music was a second team receiver for the Tigers, which I thought was pretty interesting considering that he had missed a lot of games.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that.
Spoke to the talent and stuff he has, the impact he had.
Yeah, because he had to have accumulated a huge amount of yards in a short time, because you can't just go in there with saying, well, he would have done this, would have done that. He had to already have done so much for him to get that kind of, mention. So, but I was kind of surprised, though, just because of how many games he did miss that they were able to do that. But that's, good for him.
Yeah. And Patrick Henry got offensive lineman Tyler Barrett in there. Then they also got kicker Grant Buchanan. Then first team defensive awards. You got some for Rye Cove. You had Jay Bowen, Will Rollins, defensive back Logan Barnett, and all-purpose player Landon Lane, who we've talked about quite a bit on this pod. And a little bit further out, but George Wyeth, senior Tandem Smith, he got first team honors as a linebacker. So, of course, state champs, Galax, they got a few in there. Tedron, I hope I'm saying that right, Tucker was the offensive player of the year. The top defensive award went to Austin Ashworth. Coach of the year went to Shane Allen from Galax. So joining Cole on the second team offensive team were George Wyeth, lineman Brock Ayers, and Patrick Henry, running back Cameron Goodspeed, who, if you didn't know, we have an interview with him on here as well. Great kid, great family. We met some of them at one of the games. And then you also had East Side freshman linebacker Kelton Hamilton join Cole for the second team honors. And that's a big name to watch going forward, is Hamilton. Yeah,
kind of summed up kind of what we talked about all year with Honaker's offense and Ryko's defense. Kind of the perfect summarization of in that, what we talked about kind of for the most part during football season. Several names on that list, younger players to watch moving forward for next year.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I'm enjoying basketball season, and I think that I was thinking about the other day, when basketball gets finished, we're gonna have a lot of time there, I think, to get some guests on, some musical guests, and not only that, but some football guests leading into football season.
Yeah, we can really concentrate more on whatever guests we want to do and try to get in before we get back into the weekly football shows at that point. But yeah, this basketball it's hard to cover on here, because we go a week in between, and there's games from last week, and there's multiple games, and it's hard to really do as much like we did in football. But we're trying. That's what matters, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's our first crack at it. And any bit of advice or anybody, if you got, just let us know. The main thing is trying to highlight the kids and put their names out there. And I know there's some games we didn't get into a lot of detail on, but we're also 2 hours into it. And sometimes I'm sure that a lot of people probably don't listen past the interviews. Anyway.
Yeah, we could be rambling right now, and really, I bet nobody even knows about it.
Yeah,
but we could really say whatever we wanted right now. I bet, and nobody, probably other than like 4 people, would know about it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do know that going forward, we're going to continue working at it. I know I talked to Jaylon. I think when we had him on here, and not only that, but before we went live. Or we started recording, and they have 3 games this week, and I think 4 next week. So just to kind of reiterate what you were saying about trying to keep up with all of them.
Those were the best. Those were the best weeks playing because you didn't have to practice as much. I hated having to practice. I love going to games. I didn't like the practice at some point got.
Talking about practice?
Yeah, you I don't know. You start really getting into your season, and practice just almost seems. I don't know. I wanted to be going out and playing, and either playing at home or going out traveling and playing these games. That's I couldn't stand. Like I didn't mind it leading up to the games. Like I actually enjoyed a lot of what went on in practice. But once the game started, I hated having to practice.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Well, guys, I guess that kind of sums up everything. Like Jay Moore mentioned earlier, stay tuned for this weekend. We're going to try to have a special guest on this weekend if all goes well, and that'll be an exciting episode. I want to say thank you to Jaylon for coming on. We worked through some technical stuff between all 3 of us. I think we had some stuff when we first started there to work through, and I don't know.
I've not had a glitch ever since. I don't know what happened to mine.
I don't know, but I mean, that's part of it. So we worked through that, and then we were happy to have P. Wade on. Super fun listening to those stories about him and his experiences. And we wish Jaylon and P. Wade, both their teams going forward, on good fortunes. And I'm sure they'll have a lot of exciting basketball going forward. I'm excited to go over and watch a game at Castlewood now.
Yeah, I haven't been to that gym in a while. So yeah, I need to get over there and check it out. But yeah, good luck to both of them moving forward. Hope everybody stays healthy and stuff like that. And, so we'll do this again next week, I guess.
Yeah, well, our weekly episode probably next week. Then, like I said, if we have that special guest one this weekend, we'll put it out.
Everybody have a good weekend. Go Heels.
Yeah, thank you guys, and God bless.